You know, there are places on Earth that I think you would expect this, but I think the real joy of it is that it's so unexpected right here in Illinois to see something this beautiful and this spectacular and such a geographical wonder.
Just awe-inspiring and really just uplifting. I think that's the thing that I'm enjoying this morning, is just feeling like I'm standing on top of the world. And it's just awe-inspiring.
Yes.
So.
Awesome.
This place is just prehistoric. If you want to see the way life used to be when the Indians lived here, the settlers came to Illinois, you need to come into the Shawnee Forest because it's exactly like it was.
Imagine a land of such unique beauty, visitors cannot believe it's found 1,000 miles east of the Rocky Mountains. Imagine a land of such variety, it would satisfy the skilled outdoor adventurer or a young family enjoying a summer afternoon together. Spectacular camping, championship fishing, adventure, and solitude. It's all here and surrounded by delicate beauty and inspiring vistas. This land resonates with the story of humankind. Walk along a trail and you're likely tracing the footsteps of a prehistoric hunter or a French fur trapper from 300 years ago. Hiking among the moss-covered rocks or along the edge of the Ohio River, it is easy to imagine yourself transported back in time, seeing the world as it must have looked in the ancient or historic past. Welcome to Garden of the Gods country. We've been waiting for you. Garden of the Gods country is less than a day's drive from Nashville, St. Louis, Indianapolis, and Chicago. Located in the southeastern corner of Illinois, it borders the Wabash and Ohio rivers and includes Pope, Saline, Gallatin, and Hardin counties, along with a large part of the Shawnee National Forest. It's a region of scenic attractions, recreation, and a rich, fascinating heritage. It's also a well-kept secret. Everyone falls in love with the scenic beauty. It surrounds you and invites you to begin your own explorations. What you find won't disappoint. Around every bend, among the hills and beneath the forest canopies, is a world of such natural wonder, you'll have to remind yourself this is the Midwest. Extending throughout Garden of the Gods country is the Shawnee National Forest. The forest stretches river to river and includes hundreds of thousands of acres, offering the full spectrum of outdoor enjoyment from camping and hiking to trail riding and swimming. Or If you're looking for a quiet place above the trees where the air is fresh and the view breathtaking, Camel Rock offers a memorable experience. Camel Rock attracts visitors year-round to its massive and unusual formations. Of all the rocks, this one stands out and is probably the most photographed natural site in the state. The distinctive formation resembles what else?
Camel, the head and two humps. I think it was cool how it just was shaped like that.
Well, this has always been one of our favorite spots to take the family to. The seasons are always changing the scenery. It's an absolutely gorgeous environment to hike around the rocks. We love the sandstone because it's not so slippery. It's very easy to climb over and relatively safe for little kids.
We come basically for the climbing and the scenery.
Actually, I'm looking for a little serenity, just some quiet and a nice view where you can just kind of sit and look and see all the formations and the view of from the formations.
We've been coming here since we were married in the late 70s, so we try and make it maybe a couple of times a year since then. Try and make various seasons, especially the time when the buzzards and the eagles are in flight. It's just a spectacular sight out that way.
It's a very relaxing
exciting.
It's like a meditation. You can just come and meditate, especially a lot of the rocks there. It's an area that's flattened, and you can just sit there and just look around at every view. It's peaceful.
But you get your exercise also. So it's the best of both. You get a little exercise and you're able to stop, look around, take it all in, and then move on.
Even though we were climbing the rocks and I could hardly breathe getting up and down, but it does relax you a lot. Very relaxing. That's what it should be. God's goodness. Absolutely.
The view is beautiful. I mean, you know, we keep calling all these Illinois people flatlanders, and it's not.
The scenic rock formations of southeastern Illinois formed more than 300 million years ago when the region was covered by an ancient sea of warm and shallow water. When the ocean disappeared, it left behind a smooth, solid surface of bedrock that eroded through billions of storms of wind and rain. Shifts in the Earth's surface followed, creating uplifts and other features. The last North American glacier stopped its slow trek south along the northern edge of Garden of the Gods country. There, a sheet of ice a mile thick melted, releasing water over the soft rock and creating more unique formations. The hills southeast of Harrisburg, Illinois, mark the edge of that glacier, and this is where we find Camel Rock, along with a gallery of other formations, each with its own story and experience.
This is Cedar Creek, and it's a very historic place as well as being a very scenic place. about 100 yards directly in front of me is a place where the pioneer women used to come to Gum Springs in order to wash clothes, laugh, get together. I guess it was their garden club at that particular time. It also was a spot where George Rogers Clark, on his trip from Fort Massac to Kaskaskia, passed by here. He went from Fort Kaskaskia to Terre Haute and defeated the English there, and that became the basis by which that the United States claimed the Midwest. This particular trail is part of the River Trail, and it's gorgeous because it's had so many interesting things to see. For example, if we went 5 miles directly to the east, we're going to see Lusk Creek. If we go to the northeast, we're going to see Bellsmith Springs. If we continue on down this trail and follow it across to the west, you're going to see Max Creek and the Vortex. And there's so many other little things. There's so many interesting things. If you see the faces here, the petroglyphs that are here, it's just a wonderful place to be. This kind of petroglyphs that we see in many places in southern Illinois, this one looks like it's mostly moss, but it's obviously someone that is either running or dancing. Looks like it has some southwestern influence on it. This looks like a creature that is a skunk, could be a skunk. One of the things that's unique about these kind of images is that it does look like it starts out with eyes and looks like a skunk with a big tail in the back. The other person that looks like it's a goat and a man's profile, but it has a little hump on the back, kind of like a cocopelli. This looks like something that would be a creature that's alongside the water, like a beaver. And if you notice the balloons that comes out of the top of the head, that's on the other images as well. And it almost looks like a part of the dream drawings process. These images represent something that you don't see in any other farm in this area. Now there's a cluster of petroglyphs in this area, but this particular one is on the end of the bluff, and it looks more Mayan than anything else. And it looks to me like the hieroglyph for water. All the images go from the front, the start of the valley, and then end up at the buffalo on the rock.
Stone face. Generations of visitors know this distinctive feature with a prominent nose, chin, and eyebrow. There are other stone faces in other natural areas around the country, but according to those who would know, this stone face is considered one of the best of its kind. Burden Falls. This is the tallest waterfall in the state. Beautiful anytime, but during the rainy season, you'll see 5 waterfalls. Bellsmith Springs is considered one of the most beautiful recreation areas in the forest. There are 12 miles of interconnected trails around this canyon, and 4 creeks feed into the site. You can drive to the top of High Knob and enjoy a picnic there. Below the top are trails, cliffs, and caves.
I like to take people to hike over to a place called Rimrock. It's about 7 miles away from the Garden of the Gods. And what it is, it's an escarpment, an area of about 13 acres that's a plug of earth that's gone up and pushed up through movement of the plates in the earth. And It's on 90% of the area, it's just a sheer wall of about 100 feet, and you walk down it. It's part of the Beaver Trail, which the Backpacker magazine says is one of the 10 most beautiful hikes in the United States. I mean, that's some stiff competition there. You walk down this, and in the wintertime, coming out of the snow is ferns which stay green. You get to see the rock formations and outcroppings. In the summertime, you see all these different types of flowers and plants and trees, and you walk down these massive rock formations. And you get to the bottom, you turn to the left, and all of a sudden you're at a place called the Oxlot Cave, which is a big shelter bluff where the early settlers would keep their oxen and so forth in as a shelter against the elements. And there used to be, when they clear-cut the area of timber, there used to be a little narrow gauge railroad that ran along there. And then you can walk up through this fissure in the rock that's only about this wide, and walk up to the top and then continue walking back, and you come across an old remains of a crumbled wall built by the natives. In about, they've marked it to about the year 700. So at one time you think back that 1,200 years ago there were people living on top of that, and that they had gone and brought pieces of stone in to build a defensive wall along one side. It's really an interesting part of history there. It's a beautiful place. It's not difficult to do. I do it all the time. I took my sister, who's somewhat older than I am, for that hike, and she was able to handle it easily. It's a nice, comfortable hike, and it's just a beautiful area.
And Jackson Hollow, with its rock walls rising high above the trail. On a calm, sunny day, it's easy to imagine you're visiting a natural cathedral, filled with diffused light filtered through the treetop canopies. Spend a few minutes in the presence of these rocks, and you'll understand why people travel from throughout the Midwest and beyond to experience this world.
Something that they need to experience. It's not something that I can really tell them. I can tell them how beautiful it is, but they'd never know how beautiful it is until they finally saw it and walk through it and be part of it.
Among the rolling forest hills and beneath the rock outcroppings, you'll find plenty to do in the Garden of the Gods country. Whether you're interested in trail riding or swimming or just relaxing, there's no better place than the hills of southeastern Illinois. In fact, there's so much to do, you could spend an entire year doing something different every day, and just sitting still, enjoying the view is one of them. The Saline County State Fish and Wildlife Area offers fishing, camping, picnicking, and boating on a cozy 100-acre lake. Tree-shaded campsites offer a cool retreat on a summer morning, a perfect place to enjoy a book and breakfast over an open fire.
Pleasant. It gets cooler, nice, good breeze off the lake. Yeah. We had a raccoon visit us every night. He's been a little pest. Yeah.
If you're interested in hiking, backpacking, and horseback trail riding, southeastern Illinois offers a premier experience. The River to River Trail winds 176 miles between the Ohio and Mississippi rivers and offers year-round adventure and solitude.
It's not absolute quiet when you get into the woods, but it's a place where you can go and you don't feel the pressures of other things. Once you're out in the woods, you're listening to birds, you're listening to the water, you're listening to the wind. You have smells, you have sights and feelings to go along with it, but that all kind of contributes to what every human being knows and as well-being, and that comes from your solitude, and you can't get that from a city or any place else that I know of anyway.
Wooden diamonds painted white overlaid with a blue eye mark the trail. It would take a backpacker 2 weeks walking every day to cover the river-to-river trail. Most walk it one section at a time over a period of several weekends. The Illinois Trail is also part of the Coast to Coast American Discovery Trail. Whether walking or horseback riding, the region's network of trails provides a variety of terrain and scenery. All you need is a place to start.
If you haven't been here to see this area, it's really worth coming to.
Bass fishing before sunrise on the Ohio River. Crossing the finish line on the river-to-river relay. Swimming at Pounds Hollow in the Shawnee National Forest. Or bike riding on the Tunnel Hill Bike Trail. Every outdoor interest, every conceivable way to enjoy the outdoors, it's all here in southeastern Illinois.
Hard on the beach or she moves too slow, way down to Shawnee town on the Ohio, and it's hot in the summer.
The Shawnee Town Bank dates from the early 1840s and symbolizes the prosperity of an earlier time when more people lived on the river than any other part of the state, where pioneer settlements grew into thriving communities producing goods that would supply the needs of a growing nation.
You know, Southern Illinois has been richly blessed in natural resources. We had a lot of timber. Southern Illinois was famous as a producer of lumber, and then we had the salt works, and we had coal mining, and coke, which is a part of the coal industry. So we really have lucked out all the way around, you know. We've been very fortunate.
One of the unusual things about Southern Illinois is that we have this cryptovolcanic explosion that occurred over by Hicks. It's called Hicks Dome, and they think that it was a volcano that didn't reach the surface. As it turns out, that's when fluorspar was laid in all the faults that is in this area, and the fluorspar mining was one of the first industries in this area. As it turns out, fluorspar was important for a lot of things in making paint, but also when you refine gold, you take cyanide with fluorspar, and it brings out the gold.
Iron kettles are reminders of those days when the river and its communities were a thriving bustle of people and industry. Today, it thrives with a different river traffic, and the river towns along the bank are enjoying a reawakening of the past.
Industry went away, things went away, you know, and we're trying to bring it back. With our history, we're trying to bring it back. People are more interested in what happened yesteryear, how they got to where they are, which is a good thing. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring the history back to Southern Illinois.
Among the river communities of southeastern Illinois, Elizabethtown holds the distinction of being home to the oldest continuously operated hotel in the state. The Rose Hotel was built in 1812 and today is owned by the state's Historical Preservation Agency and operated as a bed and breakfast. The guest list includes people from around the world.
I had a couple from South Africa, and they were scheduled just to stay one night, but they ended up staying longer because they loved it. And I've had people from Australia, and they loved it. The only thing they had a hard time dealing with was the biscuits and gravy.
Along with the scenic beauty and recreation, the region's historical past offers plenty to see and do. Cave in Rock opens to the Ohio River and is much more than a natural wonder. It's been a landmark for 300 years, serving as a church, tavern, and even a river pirate hideaway. Today, it's part of the Cave in Rock State Park. The Saline Creek Pioneer Village and Museum features authentic structures representing 150 years of local history. Every building was moved here from the surrounding community. The only reconstruction is the blockhouse, built in 2004. A dozen blockhouses once stood in the county and protected pioneers and their families against attack.
It took a couple of years to build it, and was built essentially with two men and a backhoe and chainsaws and axes and pushing and drilling holes and driving pegs. There's no nails in it.
The Saline Creek Pioneer Village and Museum is the site of an old county poorhouse and farm. The original house, which is listed on the National Register of Historic Places, is now a museum filled with one of the finest collections of historic objects in the region, including the desk and books that once belonged to 19th century orator Robert G. Ingersoll. Each year, the Pioneer Village and Museum commemorates life on the Illinois frontier with a weekend full of lectures and demonstrations, honoring life during the first half of the 19th century, when travelers passed through the region on their way to a new life in the West. The Saline Creek Pioneer Village and Museum is a must-see on any visit to Garden of the Gods country. And so is the bronze statue of Shawnee leader Tecumseh, standing in the Saline County Conservation Area, overlooking the historic Saline Valley. It was placed here in 2002 to honor the life of the heroic warrior and orator, and is an impressive reminder the history of southeastern Illinois intertwines with the history of the Native American. Many families in the region proudly proclaim their Indian ancestry. The region also includes a portion of what's known as the northern route of the Trail of Tears, which was the forced exodus of the Cherokee and other tribes from their lands in Kentucky and Tennessee in 1838 to reservations in Oklahoma. Whether you're looking for a challenging backpacking experience deep in the Shawnee National Forest or a quiet place to visit with the family for an affordable vacation of hiking, swimming, and relaxing, southeastern Illinois has it, along with much, much more.
A lot of people say it's like the Smoky Mountains, but I believe that we probably have more rock shelters and more waterfalls and more things that are unusual per mile than any place else.
I pitched a tent this morning at Glen Old Jones Lake, and it's primarily just to get away from the phones, TV, everybody, and just sit by a lake and relax for 4 days. That's all I'm going to do.
You don't have to go west to see beautiful scenery and hills and mountains. I said you can find them right here in southern Illinois. You got nice, friendly people. You won't ever meet a stranger, and they all talk a lot.
It's an area that is just not visited by many folks. It's not seen by many folks because it's a little bit off the interstate highway. And people become a little lazy. They think that if you want to go somewhere, you have to be able to fly to it. It has to have a water park, and or be able to go to it completely on the interstate highway. Well, there's good highways, but it's not an interstate highway. You have to go 40 or 50 miles off the interstate, but it's well worth it. And you get to see a lot of things that you miss driving on the interstate highways.
Exit the interstate and drive to southeastern Illinois, Garden of the Gods country. We've been waiting for you. If you'd like to know more about southeastern Illinois, log on to ShawneeTourism.com for all the information you'll need to plan a trip to Garden of the Gods country. You'll find links and phone numbers for lodging and camping sites, an events calendar along with information about the annual Bluegrass Festival and the Two Great Rivers Powwow. You'll also find maps and other links to help plan your visit to the region, including information about all the scenic attractions featured in this program. Garden of the Gods country. We've been waiting for you.